So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Boondock, is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist outside the realms of Mythra? Still too early to tell.
Hi, Agent York. Okay, let me take a look at your board. Looking good. Oh, remember, in order to get better, you need to become one with the board. See you later. Oh, if you ever got any skateboard questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
This town sure is peaceful, Zach. Yes, I know what you're about to say. But that's why we're here. To protect this peace. Isn't that right, Zach? One lollipop? Two lollipops? Three lollipops? Don't mind me, Zach. This is how I wake myself up. The address on the prescription led us to this house.
Seems like she ain't home. No lights on either.
What else have you seen on that sci-fi movie channel?
Agent York, why are you asking me that?
Discussing movies is one of the most basic forms of communication in our country.
Professor R's never home, you know.
Patty, why do you know so much about Professor R?
I don't know that much, really.
But you're the first person in town who mentioned her name to me. You also knew about San Rouge, didn't you? And when I tried to ask you more about it back then, you gave me an evasive answer. You're my assistant, aren't you? If you are, then you need to tell me everything you know about this case.
Daddy don't like Lena. He said it's stupid for a man to want to turn into a woman.
What?
And he told me I ain't supposed to talk about her. He said that if you knew someone like her was living here, Agent York, you'd start to hate this town.
That's ridiculous. Why would I ever hate this town? Because one of its inhabitants is transgender? Why in the world would that make a difference to me?
The other folks in town said the same thing as Daddy. They all know about Saint Rouge and Professor R. And about how she's waging war against the Clarksons. But they all say we ain't supposed to talk about it. So,
And here I'd assumed that ignorant way of thinking died out with the 20th century. I guess I really am an outsider after all. I thought that everyone was cooperating with my investigation, but it turns out they were all hiding key information from me. Damn it, Zach. This just made me hate the countryside for the first time in my entire life. Oh, I'm sorry for being so loud, Patricia. But just remember this. Person's birthplace, nature, race, and physical features have no bearing on their value as a human being. We're always free, and we should respect each other just the way we are. So you shouldn't feel a need to hate Lena for no reason. No matter what the people around you say, you can't let them control you. Sometimes things like common sense and decency can end up deeply hurting other people. I sincerely hope you don't forget that.
Okay, I won't.
But if Lena's committed a crime, that's a different story altogether. She may be a social minority, but she's still free and capable of knowing the difference between right and wrong. Professor R. I sincerely hope she's smart enough to understand that.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Listen to the two ends and drink dry the firewater. Do this and you will see the other world.
Zach, did you hear that? It's another oracle. I assume this means we're getting closer to the truth. Well, this is good. We don't have any other big clues at the moment. What do you say we continue the skeletal gentleman's game? After I spent the 90s listening to nothing but punk rock, I fell out of touch with music. But the digital audio player I received last Christmas changed everything. Nowadays, people can walk around with thousands of songs in their pockets. You following me here, Zach? That's right. This oracle is connected to music. The two ends refer to neither periods nor a movie's credits. They refer to the last letter of the alphabet, Z. And what's a word that has two Z's in it? Jazz, of course. Remember, we're in Louisiana here. The firewater is even easier. It's alcohol. Let's go to that jazz bar and have a drink while we consider our next plan of action. Don't worry, this is all part of our job, isn't it, Zach?
Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle. Lucari Tiger to DC Eagle. Come in.
Oh, Daddy.
DC Eagle here. Got any news for me?
Well, Mr. York, we got ourselves a bit of a problem here.
What sort of problem?
Looks like Daniel's gathered up a group of people to help him find Galena's killer on his own. If the Clarksons get serious, they'll probably put an end to this case before we even know what hit us. And it sure won't be wrapped up the way you want it to, Mr. York.
Yes, that certainly is a problem. Judging from Daniel's temperament, things are bound to get out of control. Melvin, I need to find Professor R as soon as possible.
Professor R?
That's right.
That ain't such a good idea.
I didn't ask for your personal opinion, Melvin. Especially if it comes from an antiquated, xenophobic way of thinking that's characteristic of rural towns.
Whoa now, Mr. York. What's going on here? I didn't...
This conversation is over, Melvin. You need to figure out what the Clarksons are planning. Call me again as soon as you know.
Huh? Fine. Whatever you say.
Also, sorry, but would you mind coming to pick up Patricia? I would never think to take an innocent girl like her into an adult watering hole.
Yeah, you're right. CLG's still too young for that.
Wait, Daddy! Agent York! I'm going too! Don't leave me out of this!
No, Patricia. You signed a contract with me, remember? I promise to protect you from all the evil in our world.
That's not what it means!
Patty, you're smart. Shockingly so. But you're still a child. And there are certain things a child like you doesn't need to learn about yet. Just go home for today. Zach and I are both in agreement on this one. I'm so glad you understand, Patty. Okay, Melvin, that's that. I'm leaving her here. The rest is in your hands.
Roger that. I'll take care of her, Mr. York.
Patty, I'm sorry I have to do this. I don't mean to abandon you. I hope you understand. This next stop feels dangerous.
It's okay, I get it. I'll go home early today and take care of Mama. I'm pretty busy too, you know.
Good. And do tell Melvin I said hi.
Hey, Agent York. About Professor R. Is she really a bad person?
What do you mean?
I only ever got to talk to her once. Oh, is it okay to say her? How do I know what to call her?
Her is fine, Patty. Simply respect the gender that the person chose.
Okay. She once got arrested for causing trouble with some of the Clarksons' workers. They got drunk at her bar and went crazy or something. When she came into the sheriff's office, our eyes met just for a second. Then she said something to me. As you grow into an adult, you will witness a great deal. But you don't need to take it all in. Just stay focused on the beauty of our world. I didn't get what she meant, and because of what Daddy said, it kinda scared me. But now, I reckon I understand what she meant back then. Oh, sorry, Agent York. I shouldn't have gotten into all that when you're in such a hurry.
No, that was a very important story you shared with me just now. You really are the perfect assistant. Thank you, Patricia.
Don't worry, Agent York. I live in this town. I don't need to wait for Daddy. I can just walk myself home. I'll wait at my house until we can go on investigating together. I promise. Don't worry, Agent York. I live in this town. I don't need to wait for Daddy. I can just walk myself home. I'll wait at my house until we can go on investigating together. I promise. Don't worry, Agent York. I live in this town. I don't need to wait for Daddy. I can just walk myself home. I'll wait at my house until we can go on investigating together. I promise.
Were you thinking about Galena too? And all the other... about Galena too, and all the other women we've seen so far on our travels across the states. Zach, I'm right, aren't I? This is a vast country, incredibly vast, and it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, this town has a symbol, this is the Deep South. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? Did you notice it yet? The streets in New Orleans were a mess. All busted up and undergoing maintenance. The city was built. So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Boondoggle. If this town has a symbol, it's got to be that bridge hanging over the body. Lift bridges are truly a rarity. Reminds me of Duluth, Minnesota. Remember what happened there? That man went to such great lengths to collect his victims' tongues. You know, the one who would French kiss them every day as they slowly decompose. As I drove him to the station after his arrest, he started lecturing me on the proper way to give someone a kiss. Anyway, back to Duluth. They have a famous lift bridge there called the Aerial Lift Bridge. The lift bridge here is the first one we've seen since then, but this one looks a lot smaller than the Aerial Lift Bridge. Its smaller size was most likely chosen due to the width of the river and the sea level of this area. The height and structure of the bridge is what determines which sort of boats can travel down the river. Normal bridges' base heights are set at a higher point so that Hey, want to talk about bridges? Why? I've become obsessed with... This is the Deep South. I feel it every time that molten hot sun pours down on me. Don't you, Zach? So, what do you think of him? Yes, I'm talking about him. Boondoggle. Is the skeletal gentleman friend or foe? Or does he merely exist? The address on the prescription led us to this house.
Seems like she ain't home. No lights on either.
So you clearly love TV shows, but what about movies? One lily. Were you thinking about Galena too? And all the other women we've seen so far on our travels across the states? Zach, I'm right, aren't I? This is a vast country. Incredibly vast. And it's mostly composed of mountains, deserts, and farmland. Small. You didn't even twitch when you saw Galena's body.
Why would I? Dead things can't hurt us, right?
Girls your age don't usually think that way.
Do you have kids, Agent York?
No, I don't. I'm not married either.
Then you have no idea how girls my age usually think. Besides, I'm used to seeing dead bodies thanks to CSI, especially dismembered corpses like this. You know, for a so-called profile confession, you're pretty clueless.
In that case, allow me to apologize. But don't you think it's a bit of a leap to discount my observational abilities simply because corpses don't scare you?
I don't know. I mean, you're completely